Hey guys, been quite a while since the last video. The past 2 weeks, I would say, has been really quite packed. So, apologies, I took a break because I was feeling a little bit burnt out. Anyway, back to the topic for today, Lakegarden Residences, which is going to be launched for booking on this Saturday. And we can see over here the concept does seem pretty good. They purposely angle it such that you can see the lake view lah. So this will be quite a nice view for those people who are very very keen on lake view, nature view, that kind of thing. So let's move on. Disclaimer as usual, whatever I share is just based on my point of view and my own research, so make sure you do a due diligence before you make any move and consult the right professional help. This is the site of Lakegarden Residences. Over here, this guy is trying for Unblocked, this guy has already Unblocked, and this is still a pretty new EC. Your main competitors over here will be the ones nearer to the MRT, and also this guy which is newer, and the distance to MRT is quite far. I would say almost about 1 to 1.1 km. So it's definitely not within walking distance. Most people will go and take a bus or something. I don't think most people will go walk. Anyway, for condo owners, we you also know that quite a lot of us, or rather a lot of residences, they drive lah. So MRT may or may not be always a factor, unless you are just very very focused on rental. You just want to get tenants who are very easy to rent to because of the MRT. Yes, they may have, but some tenants may prefer views. There will be audiences for all kinds of products lah. So it doesn't have to be direct near MRT. It's not like something that's far away from MRT cannot be rented. And you can see quite some developments, they are far away from MRT, they still get rented pretty easily. So there are a lot of factors involved. So this is the site area of Lakegarden Residences. This was the news last year, back in almost mid of last year, where this one was on block and it was 14% above the reserve price. The market sentiment back then wasn't as a little bit, I would say now is a little bit more slow down, more bearish in that sense. Last year was a lot more bullish, and that's why such things can happen. 14% above reserve price. So Wing Tai was the winner of the bid, and hence the developer of this. It seems that they were very optimistic about the market sentiments moving forward, and they may or may not be wrong. After all, if we look at the amount of time that they have to sell, they have 5 years from the day they get the land. So it may not be a very very rush thing for them to do, and we need to remember that a lot of buyers nowadays, they think that developers have to sell within 1 year or 2 years, if not they face penalty. We need to remember they have 5 years, they have a lot of time. So it doesn't mean that they are, this time they sell 20%, 30%, they're gonna panic and gonna have a fire sale. They still have a lot of time to sell. Remember, quite a lot of them, they were launched in 2018, 2019. They're still not moving as much. And during the COVID period, when they start the COVID period, they weren't moving as fast. Then during the COVID period, quite a lot, they suddenly moved very fast. And that was how many years after the launch? It was like 2 to 3 years after the launch. That's why, if you think about it, actually they still have a lot of time to sell. So don't have to panic lah, for those of them those of you who got in some developments. As long as you do the due diligence, the numbers make sense, the fundamentals of the property, the macros are right, everything are right, then it's just a matter of time wait lor. There are quite some developments that recently we are seeing, they haven't even TOP yet maybe, or they just TOP, they sub-sale. If you look at the sub-sale performance, it's quite, the profit margins are quite, I was just sharing with some of my team that quite some of the profit margins are quite disgusting. This and the funny thing is, a lot of them are not near to MRT. So convenience is most expensive word in today's market. This is some of the details of the project. Land size, plot ratio, blah blah blah, or you have total slightly over 300 units, green mark. Over here, you got the platinum label, whichever it is. So these are the basic information of the project. Not a very, very small project, but not a mega big project as well. The thing I like about certain developments are these they provide sky terraces, which in a way people get to enjoy the view without supposedly paying a premium for it. I would say. I mean, some people they don't have sky terraces. They pay like high prices for that. But not everyone will. You think about it lah. For those of you who bought like high nice view, how many percent of your time you spend sitting at the balcony admiring the view? Most of the time it's just something for you to flaunt, show off. Your guests come in, wow, then after that go back home the next day. Totally forgot about it. It's not like they are going to tell their whole family, relative, sister, mother, brother, cousin, everything. They're going to tell the whole village that, wow, this guy got a very, very nice view. They're going to likely, most of them, 90% of them are just going to go back home and forget about it. So is it really worth paying that kind of premium, unless the premium is not a very, very big margin? Then it's very well worth the view. But we see people paying like a few 100,000 extra for that kind of view. So is it really, really worth it in that sense? But if you have sky terraces, like these, basically it's like everyone enjoys it regardless of how much you pay. Isn't that a better deal? I mean, to me that's a better deal. I'm not paying extra for that, but I still get access to it occasionally when I want the view. And if my friends come over, I just can get over here lah. Of course, the bad thing is that I don't get to chop it lah. And a little bit more concept about the gym and the pool area. So these are not things that I focus on. This is a site plan. This direction is north, so more of the east facing that are more towards the lake view. Okay, so we look at this one that is a little bit more interesting. Over here, 1 km radius, we don't have too many competition, but just outside the 1 km radius, we got 8 pretty major condos, regardless of age at this point, that contributes to a total of almost 5,000 units in just this part. If I go a little bit further down over here, Chinese Garden, there's some bigger ones over there. And we all know that, we use 1 km as a gauge, but it's not the hard and fast rule. Is people can always consider that, especially people who want to buy near MRT. I'm not saying that people only look at MRT. Some people may want to buy MRT. So all these becomes alternatives. People who buy here, maybe they get to enjoy the view. So of course they get a little bit more major road noise lah. So there's always a trade-off lah. What's the price that they are paying in order to get into this area? All these have to be taken into consideration as well. But if you look at this, of course, it looks like a little bit more undersupply. But if you're looking at this, then it is not as simple as it is lah. This is the break-even for Lakeside Apartments. Break-even for now estimated. Remember, all these are a lot of people only saying that, this one is 2073. All these always are estimates, because causes of construction and a lot of causes are always changing. All these can always be a rough estimates, and we all know that there's the effects of inflation. Everything goes up over time, and all these will be factored in, compounded over time as well. Eventually, how much will it be? As a rough gauge, now we are using about this figure, which brings us to the next point. If they are breaking even only at more towards the high 2.0s, then they cannot sell cheap. So these are more of a little bit these few they are more of the marketing gimmick lah, and also layout not as efficient lah. I would say you can see quite a lot of them, they are starting from here. Even the bigger the units. Funny thing is that the bigger units nowadays trend to be the in thing, right? They are selling at a higher premium than those that are smaller. Anyway, like I said, these are more of a I personally see more as a marketing gimmick. Based on this chart, I have no idea total check collected at this point is how much. But if they decide to be more optimistic, or they decide to sell not so fast, they still got a long runway to sell, remember, and they decide to sell at 2002 plus, which, if you think about it, is not that they are greedy. They have a profit margin that they need to make in order for this investment for them to make sense. After all, doing all the work for you can't be they don't make money ma. Nobody, unless you're telling me you don't mind going to work and only making like $100 a month or making 10% of what you're making right now. I think that's fair enough, right? The risk and margin that people are undertaking just to make things happen. So a lot of people also always forget that developers are, after all, still human. Yes, they are companies, but they are humans behind the scenes running. And this, I would say, maybe around this range for average prices. So 2002 plus for Lakegarden Residences. You have to think whether is it actually worth it. And we pull out a few competitors over here that is nearer towards the MRT side. All these are still relatively new competitors. How much are they selling at this point? Lake Grande is the newest in the area. This is 2019 each, averaging about 1,007 at this point. If they sell at 2002 plus, then it'll be a gap of about 400 plus 500. Okay, will a 400 plus 500 gap be actually worth it at that point when it TOBs? That one, you have to, it's not just as simple as it is, quite a lot of things you have to weigh. You have to look at a lot into the micro factors, but you have to think about whether next time people can exit and people can help you exit at that kind of price. After all, you're looking at buyers, right? So all these others are also competitors. Like I mentioned, you can see they have been not moving for the longest time until a certain period of time, then they started moving. Will this be actually a good place for you to sink an investment? But unless if you're staying in this area, you really love this area, then I will say why not? I mean, this is quite a nice view, right? You have lake, you have like trees, bunch of trees. Apologies for that. I think my phone is going a little bit bonkers. Let me just alright, yep, back here. Anyway, let's move on. You have to look at the price gap differences next time. After all, when people they look at the resale market, they always look at the price gap. Is the price gap able to close in time? Over here, will these guys move up to close the gap, or will that guy move down to close the gap? Whichever it is, which one is more likely? Okay, all these we have to look at. Need for more of an educated guess point of view lah. Why I say educated guess, more of nobody can tell the future for sure, but what are the chances of each movement? That one, I'll leave it for those people who consult me on a personal basis lah. Anyway, let's look at the numbers for Lake Grande. This is the profit margins. Quite a lot of them make money, and they are making quite a decent amount of money. None of them lost money on paper. Of course, there are some of them who make lost money on a net basis, but a large majority of them still manage to make quite some decent profits. Okay. For Lakeview, they are faring a little bit better. After all, they got in at a cheaper price. Not too much cheaper, but if you look at the profit margin and the size and compare everything else, 100 plus transactions, they are profitable. 3 of them, they are not profitable. I think overall, if you think about it, this place, the surrounding resales, they managed to make quite some money. But whether moving forward, that kind of price, we don't know what exactly on booking day, how much are they long on a launch price, what's the price differences per floor, and all these you have to factor in very, very, very carefully on the day itself, especially with so much pressure going on, standing at the queue there. I've seen a lot of people crumble under the pressure, then decide not to buy, then go back home, finally feel like deciding to buy, then realize that the unit that they were actually able to book was gone already, then end up kicking themselves. Things like that happen all the time on booking days, or some of them book already, go back home, regret, cry about it, then whine all about it, curse and swear, then end up giving up the option. All kinds of things happens lah. And the important thing is you don't allow yourself to let the stress get to the head, and then do basically stupid things lah, because after all there are quite a lot of money at stake. You have to have the proper kind of guidance in order for you to avoid making big mistakes in that sense. Okay, upcoming, like I mentioned just now, they are trying for Unblocked. at this point, they are going for 1244 PSF PPR, but with the GFA bonus that is factored in, maybe about more towards 1002 PSF PPR. And then if you factor in the break-even price, it will be probably somewhere close to or even I would say probably slightly higher than Lakeside Apartments lah, because after all the you have the recent URA standardization thing, harmonization thing, which will it leaves to be seen what developers will be coming up with. It will be interesting to see what kind of crazy ideas they have up to. Again, after all, the systems will always try to counter what they have lah. Okay, like I said, nobody knows the future, but what we can do is always to not take unnecessary risks and try to go for something that are a lot safer in the event that with all these headwinds coming up in the market, although I don't think they are going to be staying for long, in the event of headwinds coming in the market, will you be able to tank the risk? Will you be how much potentially, if certain units are being overpriced, will they be forced to drop the prices and then leave you hanging? There are certain things that we do not want to see happening to us. Okay, as usual, make sure you do due diligence whether it exactly makes sense to buy. I don't really think this is the best opportunity for you to buy if you are buying for to like profit opportunities. But if you're buying in this area because you love this area, you believe in the Jurong Lake District transformation, that kind of thing, yada yada here and there, like I mentioned quite a lot of times, I really don't think the like major transformation on the macro scale is directly gonna impact you unless on very very specific basis, which is contradicting to quite a lot of a lot of other people in the industries are saying. But well, how much numbers are they using? That one I have no idea. You have to make sure you do due diligence. Whether your due diligence is the right way doesn't mean that you are looking it up on the internet. Not everything on the internet is true. Make sure you have your own framework that is very very reliable, and you try and test it over time already, and hopefully they don't end up their due diligence being like this lah. Okay, if you have any questions, then feel free to DM me. If not, then this will be all we have for today, and see you guys. Bye bye.